Welcome to another episode of Inspired Content, where I'm looking at a board this week. Or today, I guess I do multiple things in a given week these days. So, I'm looking at this game called Continuo. See if I can. And immediately the front cover looks very similar to the game of Tetris, but it's not quite the same thing. You've basically got tiles like these with a pattern on it. The back sides are all black. And it's got a very simple set of rules. It's the rules fit on individual tiles like these as well. So comes with a name tile that does nothing else, a instruction tile for basic and one-player gameplay, and then the next card is 2-player through 6-player, 2-player through 5-player. And then on the back side, the only one that has two-sided card is the one that has the 2-player to 5-player rules. And then on the back, it tells you how to score. So basically, what you're going to end up doing, very simple, straightforward rules on this game. And it's going to be really quick to do this. You basically lay down, you shuffle the cards, no matter how many players are playing, you shuffle the cards. And then for each player you have on the table, essentially, I'll start it that way. For each player you lay down one tile. So for a single player, you're going to put down a single tile in the middle of the table, and that's what you're going to start building off of. For 2-player game, you're going to put 2 tiles and join them together, and you're going to play off of those. And you each take turns playing essentially 2 separate solo games. And for 3-player, the same thing. You're going to put the top 3 cards down and build off of those. And then 4 and 5, it says same as for 2 players, which is 2 cards on the table to start, theoretically. I'm not sure if they are intending that you'll put the same number down for all of it. So it may just be 2 to start with. I say it can't hurt to do more than 2, but essentially, and there's an optional rule. Before playing begins, define the boundaries of the area you'll be able to play in, which might come into play, because as I'll show you here, I'm only like a 10th of the way into the pack with the grid format that I laid out, and it's going to be hard to show it to you. It's probably going to dump it all over the keyboard. Whatever, I'm okay with it. So what you basically are trying to do is very simple. You're trying to match and form the longest chains of a given color that you can. So you can do something like that and get a blue loop, and basically any chain that crosses over into another card, you count the length of the path, and that's your score. But you got to also keep in mind that you're not just doing one color, you're doing all the colors. So in this one, we're going to have 2 6s. Now, I can't say that I've seen enough information to say whether or not 2 counts as a chain on that one. It's possible. I don't think I've seen anything that indicates that there's a lower limit. Yeah, so chains must include squares from the new card and at least one other card. 1 card at a time from the top of the pack and place it face up on the flat surface. Yeah, at least one of the cards already placed and matching. So you don't have to line them up perfectly. That's the other thing I would say, is you don't have to line them up corner to corner, you just have to line up a chain, which can leave some gaps in the board because you're not allowed to stack one edge over another. But yeah, it doesn't say that you have to do 4 or more. So a chain could be 2 or 3 long. And you keep a running total. So once you've totaled up what you made that turn, the next turn is adding, even if it's not an added chain. So say you're doing something like this to match the blue up there. So you're not necessarily even. Yeah, they're both blue, I think. One of them looks decidedly more purple on camera. But they're matched up there. Nothing else matches. But so we're going to count that 4 for the blue. Now the next one would be, now I think I'm interpreting these rules correctly, but it's very sparse. So you're looking at the 4 blue here. I have another blue here. So if I tack that on there, now we're talking about 7 blue. But here's the thing. Each turn is a different total. So that's 4. And then the next time I do this, it's 7 plus 4 from the previous turn. So this is going to be 11, if I'm correct. Are there any other matches? No, I don't think there are any others. So that would bring my score to 11, despite the fact that I only scored 7 this round. Now, your goal is to use all, I guess they have 42 cards in here. I never really stopped and counted them. But they say you're supposed to use up the entire stack of 42 cards, and that's when the game ends, and the person with the highest score wins. If you're just playing against yourself, you're just trying to see how high you can get your score. Now, you end up starting to get a complex grid. See if I can get this to work out here. It's probably going to fall apart, but come on, camera. There we go. Where's the sweet spot? Yeah, starting to lose one. But you can start forming these large grids, and they can take up a lot of space relatively quickly. So that optional rule of doing the limit to the space that you can work in, it can do a real difference in how your game plays. If you get towards the edge and there's only 3/4 of a card space left, and you can't lay the card there because it'll overlap the line that says how far out you go. There are some options. I think optional house rules that I might do for something like this. I'll cover some of that kind of stuff over in the creative prompts for gameplay. But that's the rules. That's a really simple set of rules. You're just trying to build the longest chain you can, and that's kind of the game. So as simple as it is, I think it's a relatively decent game, and I like the fact that it's kind of, maybe it tells you more about me as an individual than, but I like that I can play it single player. I don't have to see if I can arrange a time to hang out with people and play the game. I can pull it out and just play it by myself someday. And it's sort of like the thing I noticed in gameplay is that the certain cards are like, you probably didn't see in that pattern that I just showed you, but there is a tendency to favor a given color. Like you're looking at a map of pattern chains, and you're like, all right, well, I can put a green here and extend this green chain pretty far. I had a green chain that ran all the way out to, I think, 8. It had to be 8, more than 8. I think I got out to 12 or more lengths of 12 or more squares. And that sense of that's the longest one that I got was the green chain. And all throughout the rest of the board, there was a lot of like orphaned blues and yellows. And I don't know if what I said earlier was clear enough about the rules. Is when you're playing, the chain can be, apparently, because I'm not seeing any contradiction in the rules, can be 2 dots long. Except it's important to note that those 2 dots have to be on separate tiles. If they're on the same tile, like there's 3 green there and 3 green there, they don't count. I can never count those until I put another green on there somewhere. So like if I put another green right here, now it's 4. That's the only time I can count those 3. If these are just 3 loose greens somewhere on the field, they don't count. And so it makes a decently simple set of rules that enable you to do a pretty interesting long-running game if you want to. And its replayability is really good. You don't have to have language skills, so I can imagine this is probably good for playing with kids and families. Overall, I think this simple versatility of this game is a bonus for it. Now, it's not a story game, which is one of my preferred favorite types of games. So overall, I would say I do kind of like having this in my game collection because it's a simple family game I can pull out whenever I'm at families, and I don't have to worry about whether or not they're into the topic of the game. I'd give this about a 5. I'd give this a 5.5 out of 5.7. I'd rate this pretty decently. I would regularly play this. It doesn't tickle my fancy in any spectacular way. This is just an easy to play, accessible game for everybody. And if you have the same type of family members and crew that occasionally just want a simple game to play on a given night, this is probably good for like beer night or something. You get together with some friends or with some beers and just chit chat, talk about all the things going on, and play a couple rounds of that before watching a movie or while you're barbecuing stuff. It's not a heavy investment in your time to play this game. It's like playing dominoes to a certain degree. So that's my thoughts on that. I will touch base with you tomorrow a little bit more with the ideas and inspirations on what we can do with it or make a new game from it. So I will see you for that. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you tomorrow.